What is up, freaks? Welcome back to Rabbit Hole Recap. Matt was just asking me what I'm drinking. I've got a Chardonnay. Matt's got a bottle pop. A 2018 Sonoma County Chardonnay Camp. They're part of the 1% for the Planet Club.
Chardonnay's white wine.
Yes, it is for any of you unsophisticated freaks out there.
I'm not. Oh, sorry. I'm unsophisticated freak. I don't really.
You knew what it was.
That's true. I don't love white wine. I think white wine is probably one of the worst alcoholic beverages there are.
Wow.
Shots fired.
Have you ever had Malort?
No. Is it good? Should I try it?
No. Then you will change your mind on the worst alcohol ever.
Oh, it's the worst alcohol. No. There's definitely worse alcohols. What's the licorice one?
Licorice.
You know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Jaeger.
Yes.
Fuck Jaeger.
Jaeger.
I'm not a fan of Jaeger. Anyway, I'm drinking Aberlour, which is single malt scotch. Got it as a gift. So cheers to the guy who got it for me as a gift. It was a birthday present. But.
Awesome. We're getting a lot of... Are you seeing the Twitter engagement right now on the tweet we sent?
Yes, I am.
Should we save that? We'll save it for later.
I'm more of a red wine drinker when I drink wine.
Oh, myself as well. I'm a cab snob. I love Pinots and cabs, Zins. But you know what? This bottle of Chardonnay was open. It's only 4:30 here on the East Coast, and I'm going to ease into it.
Same time here.
That's one of my favorite. I come from a family of red wine drinkers, and my aunt has been known to say that she likes to ease into white wine because it doesn't have as much alcohol, which is completely false. It's just she believes it's like lighter. It doesn't get her as drunk. So, I'm easing into it.
I think it's kind of true, but it's not a scientist.
This is 12.5% alcohol by volume. So,
yeah, but it's definitely more peppy than red wine.
It's true.
I think the most peppy is tequila and mezcal.
Yes, tequila gets me very, very.
And the hangover's not bad either.
No, well, the hangover depends on the amount you drink and when you stop drinking. And if you're going to mix alcohols, make sure you start with the harder stuff first.
I don't know if that's true. I think that's not real science.
Beer before liquor, you've never been sicker. Liquor before beer, and you're in the clear.
See, freaks, I told Marty in the middle of the bear market that we should have launched a second podcast that's just purely alcohol focused. And that this little riff right here is a perfect example of why I was correct.
Yes. Maybe we'll do it one day.
So I'm telling you. It's great for the bear markets.
Yes. All right, we got a lot of questions. So we should jump into Clark's dashboard. Let's get this episode started. We're here. This is a Bitcoin podcast. We're talking about alcohol.
Oh shit! It's a Bitcoin.
Yeah,
podcast.
we should talk about Bitcoin every once in a while. According to Clark according to Clark Moody's Bitcoin dashboard, current price is $10,316 sats per dollar right now. If you buy a dollar worth of sats, you're going to get 9,694 sats. We're currently at block height 647,667. Wow, we just missed 666. That's a good omen right there.
I mean, we had it.
When was the last block? No, 6 minutes and 49 seconds was the last block. We're only 3 minutes and 35 seconds into this episode.
The block existed, Marty. That's all I'm saying.
It did. It existed. There's been many of 6-6, so... I'm trying to do that number in my head. It's not working. Currently, the total capacity of the Lightning Network is 1,062.5 Bitcoin. Bitfinex Lightning node has 86.72 Bitcoin
Why do we care
outbound
about
capacity.
that? We don't care about that stat.
I don't know. Hey,
why do you care about that stat?
We may care about it more in the future. Our last
on that stat.
Our last difficulty retarget was not too long ago. It was about a week and a half ago, I believe. And the next one is in 1,485 blocks. It's currently estimated to be on September 20th. And wow, huge difficulty upward adjustment here. Predicted to be around 11%. Blocks are currently coming in around 9 minutes and 1 second, which is a minute below the 10-minute target. Fees. Mempools light
Marty,
right now. What?
We've had 648 block 666.
So that's
right.
Yes, that is what. Yes.
Super. Yeah.
Yes.
648. There you go, freaks. Bringing you the important stats.
Yes, there has been a 666. Yes, because you have to include
648 times because you have to include the first 666.
Yes.
666. Where the real OGs were.
Yeah, that probably happened in the first week. Or blocks came in pretty slow, right?
They were probably slow in the beginning, but they average 144 a day, right?
Yes, they should at least.
Average.
Right now, it's a good time to send some low fee transactions. If you're willing to wait a day, you can get them in for 2 sats a byte. Willing to wait a week, you can get them in for 1 sat a byte. Are you allowed to play in this fantasy league?
Could be the last time we see a 1 sat per byte transaction go through.
I don't know about that, but
at least in 2020, maybe. I don't know.
What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know about that either. Anyway, yeah, I am playing in the fantasy league. My transaction did go through.
Okay, good. Currently, Samurai
It cleared on Sunday. It's been like clearing every Sunday.
Yeah, it clears on the weekends.
But one Sunday, it's not going to clear. You know, I was feeling the FIFA mo. I was feeling it. It was real. I still feel it.
The mempool, it's only got 3,332 transactions in it right now.
Yeah, but it heats quickly.
That is true. Unspent capacity on Samurai Whirlpool is 1,484.17 Bitcoin.
We plateaued a bit.
We have.
But that's $15 million. That's not like a small ass cluster. That's pretty.
15.3 million.
Sized.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's all we got. If you wanna get a peek into when the next halving is, where is that? Yes, right now, blocks are coming in at 9 minutes. So if we keep this pace, the next halving will be in 2023, December 26th, the day after Christmas, 2023. Get 2 Christmases in a row. If you're a miner with low power production cost. Yeah, and so should we do questions first or go into shout outs?
Yeah, let's jump into shout outs because those are like questions that people actually paid for.
Yeah, we should definitely do this first. We'll do the questions at the end.
Yeah, let's throw the questions in. They got to be like as time allows.
Yes. The this shout out, Vake, I don't know what you're talking about here because we've never had Christian Decker on the podcast. But a few months ago, during your podcast with Christian Decker, fake news, and his friend, at one point, Marty turned around and yelled, "Matthew, I just want to know, did he pass out? Did he spill something on himself? What happened?" I cannot recall.
This is not fake. This is Phil who's been repeating this fake news. He said it during the live pod and when I was on his podcast.
It's signed Vake.
I know, but
do we have
he's boys with Vake, so he's just he's definitely just putting Vake there as the kill man.
Hey Phil, I don't appreciate your fake Vake.
Look, I mean, this is clearly fake news. Like, show us the episode. All the episodes are up there. There's, over 200 hours of me talking about Bitcoin on whiskey. So, like, show us the tapes. I remember my 2 most drunk episodes were the live episodes. It was the anniversary episode, hosted by Iterative, which was, like, in the depths of the bear market. And I got very excited, and I told people... when they tuck their kid into bed at night, they should ask themselves if they had enough Bitcoin. And Chris from Iterative had to, like, coax me off the stage. And then there was the live episode in San Francisco where Marty had told me his beautiful wife was pregnant right before we started recording. Well, like 2 hours before, and didn't tell anybody else. And I just was drinking through that whole fucking thing. And I was super excited. I got a little excited. And we hit the local top that day. Not to make any excuses, but those are my 2 most drunken episodes that I know of. So show us the tapes.
Show us the goddamn tapes. I don't even want to think of my drunkest episodes. I've had quite a few. Bitcoin Sign Guy's first episode, we got really plastered because I forgot to hit record and we spoke for like 35 minutes and we had to go back and we polished off a bottle of vodka that episode.
Yeah, they can't show the tapes for that one.
Literally can't. They don't exist.
The lost tapes.
The lost tapes of Bitcoin Sign Guy. If only we had them back. Shout out to Fake Vake for that fake news. Thanks for the $50 worth of sats.
we appreciate the shout out regardless.
This is from the San Diego Citadel at O_Kurt, and Kurt has 4 R's, so it's O_OH_KURT. KURRRRT. Shout out to all the people doing wrong so Matt can tell them to go fuck themselves. My favorite part of the show. Shout out to the future work of some freak who shares an edit of Matt's go fuck themselves clips. Somebody gonna clip out the go fuck themselves. I would love that clip.
I appreciate you, freak.
Shout out to Matt, Marty's wives and girlfriends. We each only have one wife and one girlfriend, but I get what you're saying here. For sharing them with the freaks. Fiance, that is true. That is true. What? My wife and Matt's fiance. Welcome to the club, bro. Spend some fiat on some flowers, would you? Question: would your significant other stack sats having never met you? Stay humble. Dickie! I do not think so.
I think my lady absolutely would have, because we started dating in the 2015 bear market. And as far as I'm concerned, holding on to me from the 2015 bear market was like the biggest leverage long fucking Bitcoin play ever. Like she had more balls than I do, as far as I'm concerned. You know, that she should have stayed a little bit more humble. Like I wouldn't have dated me in 2015 bear market.
Yeah, my wife took a little bit more convincing. I don't know. Maybe she's gonna listen to this and be mad at me, saying I definitely would have stacked. So, there was a lot of brunches where I would talk about the fragility of the financial system that ended in tears. And
all I can say is the Bitcoiner wives are the ultimate hodlers.
This is true.
Okay,
holding on to true freaks.
She literally birthed a bent child.
Yes. He's a goddamn great kid. Gave him his first, while we're on this subject.
That's why I always give Morgan Richard a break, even though she's a big bond proponent.
Big bond proponent. I'm sure she likes chairs, too.
Yeah, she's a huge chair proponent as well.
Yeah, it's a shame she's married to Pierre in that regard. Gave my son he had his first nibble on a tomahawk steak today. He had his first encounter with meat, and he liked it a lot, from what I could tell. He couldn't express it other than smiles and giddy laughter, but I think he liked it.
Spread it amongst the Bitcoiners. Baby Bent liked the meat.
He does. He loves it. 2 more shout-outs. Freaks, thank you for the shout-outs. They've been bountiful the last couple of weeks. This is a shout-out in honor of the fellow dirtbags out there. You all are appreciated, and it was a pleasure to meet you last weekend. I'm assuming 2 weekends ago at BitBlock Boom. Happy Steak Timber, and see you Friday. Skeef! P.S. Here's an enlightened quote from the courageous leader. Fuck Marty Bent. I had a good thing going.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
No, BitBlock Boom is great. Appreciate you all.
It was incredible. And last but not least here, I'll chip in a bit more for the poem from the guy from last episode. If you guys don't remember, Anon Hodl, I believe, was the handle, wrote a beautiful poem that I beautifully orated on the podcast last week. And so here's the addition to that poem. Love from the soon-to-be banana republic that Scotland wants to be. I stack because my dad knew the malevolence of the old system, and I pin my flag to the new. I've got a couple of pals off zero, and I'm happy for that, even though they don't yet even understand why. Keep going, guys, and drink more whiskey. It's the only export we've got left. We'll help support the Scottish economy as much as we can.
Cheers. I was supposed to visit. I'm going to visit when this all clears up.
That's one promise that we can confidently say that we will follow through with, that we will be drinking Scotch. And hey, to our Scottish listeners out there, thank you for listening to this particular freak with the shout out. Thank you for the addition to the beautiful poem. And
we should start a distillery.
All right, let's ease into things here. Do you know how to distill alcohol?
My opinion on S2F is, if it is correct, we should start a distillery.
If it is.
That's my opinion on S2F. If any media wants to ask me my opinion, that's the quote I'll give them.
I feel awkward about S2F, and like Ben and I talked about this on last week's episode.
Yeah, it's like kind of a scam coiner.
It's like, I like it. I think it's a nice to have and like a nice to point at. I don't think it's a nice to lead with. Like, hey, I think it's like, hey, well, look, some dude put this model together and it seems to be following it. It's not like, hey, Bitcoin's gonna.
I don't feel strongly either way.
Yeah.
I think Bitcoin goes up over time with adoption.
Yes.
and halvings happening.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm generally in the same direction as S2F. I just don't,
Yeah.
like a fucking formula that just goes up to the right is not my style. But
Again, it's a nice to have.
look, if it's true, we'll make a distillery in the Isles.
I'm down. I'm in. Count me in.
We'll build a citadel with the distillery attached.
Oh, there's definitely going to be a distillery or at least a winery in my citadel. I've been citadel pilled, by the way, freaks.
I got you. It's localism.
Yes, localism.
That'd be a great clip out, like all the clips of us talking about citadels and localism, like through the whole 2020 crisis. Because this was basically just one big year educating people on why people think that's going to be the result.
Yeah. I mean, if any year has driven home the need for citadels and the validity behind citadel theory, I think 2020 is that year. You know what? We're just going to get it over with. This episode of Rabbit Hole Recap is brought to you by our good friends at the motherfucking Cash App. You should know all about them. If you don't know about them, let me tell you a little about them. They're helping you stack sats, send sats, receive sats, and sell sats if you so please. And they've made sats a standard. We're not buying fractions of Bitcoin anymore. We're buying whole sats. On top of that, you can make your sat purchases a cadence. You can DCA, dollar cost average, into it. Buy daily, weekly, bi-weekly. Set it and forget it via the Cash App. On top of that, if you're playing on the stonk market and stonk market is something that you're interested in, you can do that on the Cash App as well via Cash App investing. And not only can you do that, you can stack slivers of stonks. Okay, you don't have to buy a whole stonk. If your favorite stonk's a little too expensive, you can buy as little as $1. Because all this is connected to your bank account, there's a 4 to 5 day waiting periods. You can start investing today, stacking slivers of stonks and stacking sats today. Cash App may even be your bank account. They're offering account number and routing numbers for users. You can direct deposit your paychecks into the app. It's a neobank. I think that might be the better term. You should know the Cash App investing subsidiary Square and member SIPC. As always, make sure you use the code STACKINGSATS. It's STACKINGSATS. You're going to get $10, and $10 is going to go to our great friends, our incredible friends at Owls Lacrosse. That's Owls Lacrosse. Fuck you, Marty Zhao. Again, use the code STACKINGSATS and enjoy the Cash App. Great friends. You're going to get $10. $10 is Owls Lacrosse. This episode's also brought to you by our great friends at Unchained Capital. They were the premier sponsor at BitBlock which we mentioned earlier this episode, and they've got an incredible new service, a white glove service. We're going to give you freaks $50 off the concierge package that Unchained is offering, a white glove service, if you will. When you use the code TFTC or tell them that TFTC sent you, you're going to get $50 off this $1,500 package. And it's basically multi-sig made easy with the help of an expert. So they have experts on staff at Unchained. They're going to walk you through the process. They're going to white glove, get you from zero to multi-sig. If you need it, they're going to get devices shipped to you. You're going to have multiple Zoom conversations. They're going to walk you through operational security. They're going to guide you through that. They're going to answer any multi-sig questions you may have. They're really there to help answer all this for you. And then on top of that, they're going to deposit $1,000 worth of Bitcoin into your vault. So why not make your next Bitcoin purchase direct to a new multi-sig vault? That's what Unchained wants to know.
And they hold their alcohol well. We just tested them out last week.
We did. They hold it very well. So they're building a full suite of Bitcoin native financial services via their platform with loans and an OTC desk. So a one-stop shop, if you will, for Bitcoin financial services done using native security properties of multisig. Additionally, if you want to go check out the Unchained Twitter account, they're always answering questions and sharing new information about their products. So you could follow them on Twitter. I think it's Unchained Cap. Let me check right now. At Unchained Cap, yes. And so go check it out. We're going to link to their concierge service in the show notes, so go check them out. And guess what, freaks? One more ad read. We got a new ad read this week. The Hash Rate Podcast. That's HASHR8 podcast is Bitcoin mining's best podcast, and they've recently kicked off a second season. Hosted by Wick Gibbs, who's actually been on this podcast before. I'd highly recommend you guys go check it out. The show focuses on conversations and commentary from Bitcoin mining's key players. We've been on the podcast before, Great American Mining. They talk to a lot of pool operators, and mining is an area of Bitcoin that is very opaque to some people, and I really like the hash rate, but I listen to it myself because they really help get a better understanding of what's going on in the mining aspect of Bitcoin, which, again, has been a bit of a black box throughout Bitcoin's history. So also, Hashrate puts out a free weekly newsletter to address the global asymmetry of information in Bitcoin mining. It's called Difficulty Adjustment. Researchers in North America, Europe, and Asia. Hashrate's Difficulty Adjustment succinctly delivers accurate and actionable info to your inbox every Wednesday morning. Make sure you subscribe and add Difficulty Adjustment to your weekly must-reads. If you head over to Hashrate's newly redesigned website, you can register for the newsletter, subscribe to the podcast, and stay current on all the major news in Bitcoin and mining. We're going to link to the website and the podcast in the show notes. Shout out to Hashrate Podcast. Again, if you're interested in mining, go check it out.
Welcome
to the fam.
And there's an episode of you on Hashrate, right?
Yes, we did an episode. Tom,
you guys shared episodes, right? It's like a Blood Brothers.
Yeah, we swapped back and forth.
Whit came on to TFTC, and you went on to Hashrate.
Yes. And Whit.
So check those out, freaks.
Whit brought a very delicious bottle of Keller's with him when we sat down. Very delicious whiskey. Let's jump into it, dude. We got a short list again. We sent out a tweet on Twitter that will add to this list, so I'm excited to get to that. It's getting crazy engagement. We've got something like 60 responses already.
Let's start with our proper list.
Yes, and our proper list starts with something that...
you wouldn't know it based on all the drama on Twitter being about other things, but... there was actually a Bitcoin vulnerability that was disclosed this week.
So CVE 2018-17145. This was patched 2 years ago, but was finally disclosed earlier this week. So basically, I believe it was a vulnerability that would enable a denial of service attack on any node running Bitcoin Core version 0.16.0 or version 0.16.1. Bitcoin NOTs version 0.16.0, Bitcoin version 1.0.0, anything.
It was just anyone who pulled upstream, anyone who pulled downstream from core.
Yes.
So like Litecoin, actually Decred had some issues with there because of Bitcoin. But anyway, none of that shit matters. Bitcoin vulnerability, right? Introduced in 2017. You're right. It creates a denial of service situation. Where you can basically like take down a node. That's what a denial of service is. People know about denial of services most commonly with websites. You can't access the website. It's because like a million different computers or servers are hitting that server at the same exact time. Like a botnet hitting it at the same time, and that's what causes the downtime. In this situation, it could also cause loss of funds because you can knock the Bitcoin node offline if it was affiliated with a Lightning public node. So anyone who is running, a larger Lightning public Lightning node could have been vulnerable to this if they didn't patch their Bitcoin Core.
Yeah, and if watchtowers aren't sufficiently robust, which they aren't, they're
not. They're like barely out.
Yeah, exactly.
The big joke.
Yeah.
Right.
So this bug was introduced in. Let me get the paper in. Again, version 0.16.0 of Bitcoin Core, and it was introduced on November 15th, 2017. It's actually right after the Bitcoin Cash hard fork, and that was pull
So a lot of shit was going on, and just got.
Yeah. So, what do we say here? Luckily, it wasn't exploited. Obviously.
It wasn't exploited. It was responsibly disclosed, which is fantastic to see.
Yeah. So shout out
from someone on the Purse.io team.
Yeah. So shout out to Braden Fuller and Javed Khan who discovered this bug and responsibly reported it. So yeah, it's an interesting thing. So How many more bugs that have been disclosed will we find out months,
and then
years
the
from
projects in question, they fixed it, pretending like the patch was unrelated.
Yes.
So that it doesn't, because the idea is, the problem is, like, if you haven't updated, you can still be attacked, right? If you're in that window, right? So it was only the vulnerability only existed from November 2017 to June 2018. So if you had a Bitcoin Core installation between that period and then you didn't update past June 2018, then you're vulnerable still.
Yes. So be aware if you're running any of those.
This is the scary shit about running a Lightning public node specifically, like a routing node on Lightning with public capacity, because it's fucking hot. You know, it's hot, and we're just waiting. Like, there's gonna be a vulnerability, right? Like, the only reason I know there hasn't been one that's been exploited is because I have public Lightning routing node and my money is still there. But, like, that's like the worst. It's the worst way to know, because I'm just like waiting. One day I'm gonna lose my money. And I'm just gonna come on the pod and be like, yeah, that vulnerability got exploited. Like, I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
Don't trust verify.
Yeah.
It's not great.
It's not great. Luckily, it wasn't exploited, but this highlights, like we said, what do we have to highlight about this instance? The need for more review around Bitcoin Core specifically. Let's just roll it into the shit that went over this earlier this week.
Before we get there, yeah, like, it needs more review, and, like, it's on everyone. It's an open source project. We all can review it. We all can be paying attention here. Like, it's on all of us. It's not on a specific person, whoever fucking, merged the pull request or, like, authored the pull request. Like, it's not just on them. It's on everyone. If you haven't looked at it, myself included, then it's on you.
Yes, I agree. And the subject that we're about to segue into highlights that as well. It's something that got merged 3 months ago. A simple changing of a variable name in a test suite within Bitcoin Core from Blacklist to blocklist started a lot of controversy. I believe Matt and I are actually on opposite sides of this. Matt thinks it's a nothing burger. I think it is an instance that could lead to a slippery slope.
I just think two things. Like, first of all, it was 3 months ago, and it got merged, and no one noticed. Okay, so, like, if Twitter wants to be fucking mad about it all together in a hive mind way, 3 months later, after not paying fucking attention to the open source process, like, so be it. Okay, those same people did not fucking bring up the actual vulnerability that got disclosed since then. They've just been they all fucking freaked out about the previous thing and didn't freak out about that. And then the second thing is the main issue that I think I agree here that both I have issue with and most of the detractors have issue with, is that it becomes a denial of service of core maintainers, of core developers and maintainers and everyone involved with the project, that they have to keep dealing with this bullshit and it wastes their time. But meanwhile, it got merged without wasting pretty much anyone's time. It was a really inconsequential merge that was used on a test suite that, like, most people, like, aren't fucking using, and it didn't waste anyone's time then. And instead, all the detractors that are worried about it wasting time wasted everyone's fucking time for the last 2-3 days over it. And, like, freaked people, it caused drama and people, like, going back and forth. Like, you accomplished the goal that you were worried about. Like, the people that are like, oh, like, a troll can just come in and just make everything go to shit in the fucking Bitcoin developer community, like, you proved their point. You did it for them.
I see that. I can see that. I agree that there was a lot of time wasted, and like, you never want to see people like Vladimir, who's one of the lead maintainers, saying that he's thinking about walking away from Bitcoin for a little bit, which he did say.
He's being a little bit emo there.
Yes, but but I do, and that's what I tweeted out on Saturday. I just sent one tweet out about it. I said, hey, for a project that's supposed to be extremely adversarial, I find it extremely disconcerting that type of change from blacklist to blocklist. So you're bringing Western, particularly American culture wars into the Bitcoin protocol, like saying that blacklist is somehow racist, which, I mean, we're not going to get into the depth of that debate, but I just think that's nonsense.
I don't like blacklists in general.
Yes. I mean, not because of the name, but because of the function that they serve. No, and I just think it's a slippery slope. I mean, it starts with a variable in a test suite and moves its way up the stack.
But you only had one tweet about it?
I think so. I think I retweeted a few people, but...
I thought you were neck deep in that shit, Marty.
No, I think I only had one tweet.
I don't know. I saw it going down, and I just fucking left. I just left Twitter for the day.
Yeah.
I just took a break.
Personally...
But
look, and then I can see
these arguments. I think these arguments are more valid if you had them 3 months ago.
Well, that's the thing. Like 3 months ago, Michael Fulkinson threw out a knack, and it sort of got brushed over. And that.
Okay, well, where were you in the open source process at that point? You know, like where was everyone else in the open source process at that point? Like you're gonna wait till Giacomo sends out a tweet, and then just everyone's gonna fucking jump on the fucking bandwagon fucking 3 months later?
Yeah, it's a good.
After it's already been included in fucking release.
Hey, I see your point. I agree with you to an extent. I was not there in the repository to knack myself. We'll see. I mean, there was a knack that got somewhat overlooked, and I think the knack had some teeth behind it, and I think...
it shouldn't have just gotten murdered. I agree. Look,
yes.
I agree with that, but I think it was mostly inconsequential, and I think like we should have been paying attention. Like, first of all, we realized like a bunch of people just learned like how GitHub works. Like they had a massive amount of signups over their stars on the Bitcoin Core repo, but so I mean in that regard it's good.
Yes, and this should all.
But I wish like people are bored, man. People are bored and they're just creating drama out of like nothing. Like it's not a threat to Bitcoin. Like if you want to know when the SJWs are coming for Bitcoin, wait until they try and start to cancel Luke. As long as Luke isn't being canceled, I love you, Luke. As long as Luke's not being canceled, like there's no real threat. He's the canary in the coal mine. You know, like why do we need to make bullshit drama because we're bored and we're angry at just like what's the state of the world is right
Well,
now?
I want to call it bullshit drama. See, I want to label it as that. But I do like your point that Luke is a canary in the coal mine until he
huge canary.
very very strong conservative Catholic views.
Just not, it's yeah. I'm not. I don't think Bitcoin development's about to get co-opted. Like I'm not worried.
Yeah, they had to bring up some interesting. If anything, it had people thinking about the process of code getting merged, and like you said, more people made GitHub accounts and started getting involved. But then, yeah, I mean,
but I think
we could go down so many routes
with
this. Like
the learning experience should have been this fucking vulnerability, not this blacklist thing. I mean, I just. It's the same learning experience, and like no one talked about the vulnerability.
Yeah, maybe that's what I haven't wrote the bent yet today. I'll write about it.
You haven't wrote the bent yet.
It's
today,
so
bro.
goddamn busy.
I like that you just keep us all guessing. We never know when it's gonna come in.
It's coming tonight. Don't worry, freaks. I'm gonna post this episode, then write the bent. Marty,
this is what the bent has over all the other newsletters. You just never know when it's going to come in. All the other ones, like they stick to a specific schedule. Not the bent. You just never know. At any moment, your phone buzzes. It's the bent.
I tried that in the beginning. I tried to have a 9 a.m. release every day, and I was just staying up till 4 a.m. writing.
And it kills you. It just kills you inside, and it results in a worse product.
Exactly.
To be honest.
Exactly. Don't want to force it.
Anyway, freaks, I know a lot of you are going to disagree with me on my takes there. But,
and me as well. No, I think people are pretty split on this.
But I appreciate you all who disagree with me.
Yes. But be vigilant. Join the review process. Well, oh, God. There's so many things that could be said about this. Like, I don't agree with a lot of the reaction from the developer side either. Like, it's so nuanced. Like, is there...
Twitter's not a good platform for this shit.
No. Well, it got taken to GitHub, and some people got kicked out.
GitHub's not a good platform for this shit either.
Exactly. That's another highlight of this whole situation. But we're not... Again, be vigilant moving forward. That is in the past. It doesn't make sense to fight over this particular merge anymore. And we've probably just thrown some fuel on the fire by even bringing it up today, but
I don't think so.
I hope not.
This is why people come to RHR.
Yeah.
We got to talk about the issues.
Yeah. Speaking of issues,
the real issues.
I love this. This isn't an issue, but I think this is a hilarious tagline you got in the in the show notes. Flaxman digs Spectre too. So Michael Flaxman, that's Mike Schmidt, is part of Bitcoin OPSEC. Michael Flaxman
is the guy who went on Stefan and told everyone, to scare the shit out of everyone about their hardware wallet.
Yes. So he approves of Spectre.
And he's awesome. Flaxman's dope.
Yeah, so
Michael's dope.
He's got a 10x security Bitcoin guide, btcguide.github.io. We're gonna link to that, and it's basically describing multi-sig security and best practices. And
no. So he has like a particular setup. So like the setup he is going through is using a cold card and a Kobo Vault, which is like this air-gapped Android-based hardware wallet. And you use it with a cold card, you use it with Spectre, and a paper wallet. So it's 2 of 3. So he has his setup, and on the show notes I say, so does Catan. And Catan has like a Windows guide for using Spectre single sig with cold card. I fucking love Spectre. I think Spectre could make our job way easier, Marty. As someone who answers a lot of DMs in this space about best practices, and does this podcast with you once a week, I am so fucking bullish on Spectre. Spectre is the setup. For single sig, you just do Spectre plus Bitcoin Core plus cold card. And you're good to go. And then multi-sig, like, we're 3 months away.
I was going to say.
We're still on,
I was going to say, how many months away are we?
We're still on projection.
This may be ahead of schedule, actually.
I think we're ahead of schedule. I think we're a little bit ahead of schedule. It's really cool that you can just install Bitcoin Core on your computer and Spectre, and you're good. It's just if you're using the default if you're using the default configuration, like it just automatically like syncs up. And if you're not, you're just copying and pasting like the path where your blockchain data is. Like that is fucking huge, massive.
I agree. That is a huge UX improvement, and Michael Flaxman isn't the only one who digs Spectre. Our boy Catan from Ministry of Nodes does as well, and he made a tutorial that you freaks can check out. We're going to link to that in the show notes. Shout out to Stefan and Catan, Ministry of Nodes, for all the dope content they put out.
And Michael Flaxman. What's Michael Flaxman's Twitter? M Flaxman, I think.
Let me double check that. M Flax.
And Michael, you were missed at BitBlock Boom.
Yeah, where the hell were you, dude? It is M Flaxman. So we're going to link to both the 10x security guide and the tutorial from Catan.
Dude, I fucking love Spectre. I'm super bullish on Spectre. It makes me so excited. I just fucking love it.
Yeah, and if you're gonna,
it's so clean.
I mean, I can't speak. I haven't tried it out yet.
It needs some review. It needs some code review, but like all the hard heavy lifting parts, they like left to core. They're more like a UX on top of core. So like it does need more review, but it is nice that like pretty much the majority of the review is on core, and then like the majority of the trust is on core. And obviously, if you're using a good hardware wallet, you're using something like Cold Card, you can verify the address on the device. So you're not really trusting Spectre that much, except for like setting it up for you pretty.
Yes.
But you can confirm everything on the fucking device. It's fantastic. Then you're using your own full nodes. You have better privacy. You have better sovereignty. It can be pruned all in your own computer. This is it, Marty. This is it. This is what we've been waiting for.
I think I can see Matt's erection peeking up to the camera right now. It is Thursday, September 10th, 2020, and Matt Odell said we're 3 months away from perfect multi-sig UX. So we'll check back here.
Not perfect. Very good.
User-friendly. All right.
Very good.
So December 10th.
You're setting me up to fail if it's perfect. It's never going to happen.
December 10th, 2020. We're going to have to check in, see where we're at. And if you're doing that and you want to secure coins or UTXOs that you've acquired in a fashion that does not involve KYC, our good friend Bitcoinqna has a no KYC only, avoid the creep. So he has a one page.
This is the domain that I got blamed on. Do you remember?
Well, so I clicked on it and now it's like bitcoinqna.github. So it's
So he had a cheeky tweet that said you should go to nokyconly.com, but he didn't buy the domain. So someone else bought the domain and they made it a hodl ref link. And then he blamed it on me because obviously that's something I would do. I would totally do that. I'm like against ref links, but it's hilarious. That's just funny. And then whoever bought the domain reached out to him and was like, I'll give it to you if you'll use it. So he made this awesome ass homepage for why no KYC is important.
Yes.
Why KYC is a threat, why KYC is dangerous. So you can just send newbies there if they want to be educated on the situation that we're currently in.
And a point he makes in the one pager is it's not the fault of these companies that enforce KYC on their users, like some of our sponsors, but it is the
all of our sponsors, except for Hashrate.
Yeah, Hashrate's not KYC. Yeah. Yeah, it's the regulation. And I say this many, many times, and I will keep saying this. We need to. I said this in a tweet today. It's actually a good subject. It's not on the list today that we could bring up. Is the fact that they're trying to move this to mining now at Know Your Hash Rate. And this has been a big discussion behind the scenes.
Is that real?
It's real, but if you actually, I've talked to some people that have been approached by this group. I think they're called SLIC, and they're literally slick. Yeah, but they're dumb. They're one pager that explains why they got blatant facts wrong. They're saying one exahash a second of mining equates to 1 gigawatts per second of energy consumption in the world, which it's just simply not true. And then their terawatts of energy consumption that Bitcoin is using per day, they got wrong as well. So and that's the other thing that pisses me off is a bunch of suits from traditional corporate World Economic Forum backgrounds that really don't understand this, obviously via the content that they put out to date, trying to force regulations on a industry they don't even understand. It's fucking disgusting. But I don't think it's going to work out. And this is actually a conversation that's been going on between miners, at least I've been part of for a few months now. It's this is one of my biggest worries is KYC mining pools, because that will defeat the permissionless nature of mining. And I think that's the base of the permissionlessness of the system is you should be able to plug in a machine and contribute hash to a pool and get sats with very minimal personal identifying data being leaked to the pool, and people are going to use this as an attack vector to KYC miners. But as we know, there's jurisdictional arbitrage around the world, and the KYC'd mining pools will just become too unprofitable to sustain themselves in the long run, and it won't make any economic sense because somewhere in the world there will be a pool that doesn't give a fuck about KYC, and they will include transactions with bigger fees that make their miners more profitable.
I'm not sure about profitability. I think we'll have cuck miners and non-cuck miners, basically. I think it's just inevitable. But as long as you have enough miners that aren't complying, we're good. They'll just accept, you might have to pay a higher transaction fee than an approved transaction.
Great American Mining. My coworkers, if you're listening, we should never become a cucked miner.
It was a shot across the bow of GAM. You guys got this.
Yeah, no, but it's
full faith.
Fuck, man. And they mentioned the Financial Action Task Force in their one pager. And fuck the Financial Action Task Force. Fuck the Financial Action Task Force. Fuck them. Who are they? Again, they're supranational, unelected organization that gets to decide who can and cannot send money around the world. They have this stupid travel rule. It just adds costly burdens on entrepreneurs and financial entities, and it just makes everything harder. And these people, they don't use this information to save people; they use it to control people. They hide behind. And I thought about this today, and I thought it may be a little bit bombastic. Is terrorism that even big of a problem? Like, honestly, is it? Like, is it that big of a problem?
It's a little bit bombastic.
But seriously, is it? Like, we have to start asking ourselves these questions. Is terrorism that much of a problem that you handcuff billions and billions of people with this regulation? I don't think so.
I don't think we need to ask that on this podcast, Marty. I think we can just agree that terrorism is bad.
Yes, it's obviously bad, but is it so bad that you handcuff billions of people with this regulation from some weird entity in France that started out of nowhere, nobody elected and nobody asked for? Fuck no, I don't think so. So
yeah, I mean, I think you let the terrorists win if you end up eroding law-abiding citizens' rights over, like, to the hilt, like over the top. You erode their rights.
Yeah.
In the name of fighting terrorism, you're letting the terrorists win.
Yes.
Is what you're doing.
And it's been proven too many times that these banks aid the terrorists, like the Mexican drug cartels, all that shit.
I agree.
They don't care.
Tales from the Crypt is strictly anti-terrorist.
Obviously, I'm not like
fuck you, terrorists.
I'm not advocating terrorism here. I'm just asking, is it that big of a danger? Obviously, it's a danger, but like, again, does it demand that fucking the FATF gets to decide who can and cannot?
No, it's an excuse. It's an excuse. Yes, Marty.
Yes, thank you.
We all agree with you.
All right. Going on, a company that.
Wait. Before we go on, Marty did mention that our sponsors do KYC. Yes. And the freaks know how I feel about KYC. I do not like KYC. I think KYC is ineffective, and I think it's dangerous. The difference is our sponsors are fighting for privacy, and if they stop fighting for privacy, if they stop pushing back, then I would have more of an issue. They are fighting back, and one of the biggest issues in this space that I take with companies is if they are fighting to dump unregistered securities on retail, if they're fighting for the ability for shitcoins not to be regulated so they can dump them on you, and they're spending millions of dollars on that, but they're not spending money on actually trying to defend privacy, then that is obviously the biggest fucking hypocrisy in the world, and it's just obvious to me. So I am very grateful to our sponsors that they are not doing that.
I am as well.
And I think our sponsors are trying their best. I honestly do think that, and at the same time, I think that KYC is dangerous and ineffective.
Co-sign that whole message, and I would add to it, like, I know that they're fighting back against it. Like, it is, and it's hard out there. You have the fucking Coin.
And they can't talk about it really that much. They have to be careful.
Yeah. And you have the Coinbase of the world fucking, oh, we're going to give you access to Wi-Fi or whatever the fuck that thing is, and
how do we pronounce that?
I have no idea.
I've been pronouncing it Yiffy.
I've heard Wi-Fi.
I think it's pronounced Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Because people make the Wi-Fi joke a lot. They're like, oh, my internet cut out.
I don't care. Good for you, Coinbase, launching another shitcoin.
I like Yiffy. I think Yiffy is the way you pronounce it.
This is like, this is going to turn into a whole GIF versus GIF type. It's GIF, by the way.
It's GIF.
Yeah. I'm glad we're in agreement on that.
I think the founder of GIF disagrees with us, though.
Oh, fuck him. Or her.
He's wrong.
Or her.
It's a him.
Chain analysis company that's fighting terrorists, or so they claim. We have the archive link here.
Marty just fist bumped the webcam.
This was actually interesting information. They did a relative weighted rank of individual.
Their blog has been fantastic lately.
Yeah,
Marty.
it has. This piece particularly too, because you wonder.
They're trying to get our IP addresses.
Right. So they basically did a weighted rank of, is it Bitcoin or cryptocurrency? I think it's Bitcoin.
They say crypto.
Yeah.
But then they also say in the article that like the majority of the crypto is Bitcoin.
Yes.
So it's basically Bitcoin. Let's say Bitcoin.
Yeah, we'll say Bitcoin, and
proportionally, it's proportional.
I was not expecting Ukraine to be number one. So at a weighted index,
per capita.
Per capita, Ukraine is the number one
and
country.
it's by value, not transactions.
Yes. And even so, Venezuela is number 3. So it goes Ukraine, Russia, Venezuela, China, Kenya, the U.S., South Africa.
The crazy thing is U.S. is 6.
Right?
Right? Because like from every other ranking, U.S. is number 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the U.S., we are number 5 in on-chain value received, number 6 in on-chain retail value received, number 39 in number of on-chain deposits, and
so on-chain deposits was exchanges.
Yes, and number 16 in P2P exchange trade volume. Kenya is number 1 in P2P exchange trade volume, which you love to see. That's like the most illuminating thing of this.
Yeah, and Venezuela is number 2.
Yeah, number 2 P2P exchange. Nigeria is number 3. Colombia is number 4.
That's what you want to see, right?
Yeah, exactly. Russia number 9. So like the countries that need Bitcoin the most, like I would say like the United States, maybe South Africa, and maybe South Africa does need a little bit more than most countries, but outside of them, it's like every country.
This list is like everyone in need.
Yeah, well,
it's.
Do you think the Ukraine needs them? Or the Ukraine? Why do I say? I'm sorry, that's disrespectful. Ukraine.
They're getting fucked, man. Yeah. They're basically in like a manufactured civil war right now still.
Yeah, over these natural gas pipelines, man. It's
They literally gave up their nukes in 94 and said they came into an agreement with the Russians and the US. They were like, we will not be in a proxy war with the two of you, so we're going to get rid of our nukes. You guys agree? And they're like, yep.
Right back into it.
14 years later, proxy war. That's exactly what fucking happened. This is like this. Don't trust, verify, right? Like you have to watch out for yourself. If every single person in this world, unfortunately, like you have to assume they're just gonna they're gonna throw you under the bus for a sat. Is what's gonna happen, and you just gotta watch out for yourself. And Ukraine is a perfect example of this, unfortunately.
Yes, and another perfect example of this is Belarus.
Yeah. So did you see this article in CoinDesk?
Yeah.
It's
pretty badass.
I'm all about this.
It's pretty badass.
This is why Bitcoin. I don't know why all you motherfuckers are here. Like, I want to be rich. I don't pretend that's not the case. But the reason I Bitcoin is because
freedom.
When people need money that works for them, Bitcoin is there. Bitcoin is the equalizer. It's the great equalizer. And in Belarus, it's extremely difficult right now to get fiat in and out of the country, whether that's cash through a border or whether that's fiat digitally through all the bullshit digital ways you can do it. But Bitcoin works. And they figure it out. They fucking figure it out. So this Belarus non-for-profit has been sending money into the country, $1,500 at a time, through Bitcoin, and the recipients learn how to use a mobile wallet, and just they make it happen because they need to make it happen. They figure it out.
I think that's the most illuminating part of the article is a 10-minute tutorial, and they figured it out, right?
If you need it, you can figure it out.
Right.
If you don't figure it out, you're going to go hungry. You're not going to be able to fucking feed your family. You'll figure it out.
And that's why I love the tweet. Did you send that out today or yesterday?
Yesterday.
Yeah. When your back's on the wall, when you're pressed for it, people are going to figure it out. It's
That's why I'm here. This is what it's about to me.
I co-sign that as well.
Empower individuals.
Bitcoin is the greatest extension of natural law theory and natural rights since the Constitution, even though it's a shitcoin, according to Matt. The
Constitution, yes.
Yes, the preservation of private property rights and sovereignty over your financial.
Compared to Bitcoin.
Yeah, no, I agree. Bitcoin takes us to the next level, and this is the freedom. I think when you say this is why I'm in it, I think I am accurate in saying that this is why I'm in it can be described purely as freedom. One word. Is that correct, Matthew?
Bitcoin is freedom money.
It is. It really is.
Bitcoin Magazine last year did the unfortunate tweet hashtag campaign of Bitcoin is free money, and lots of people wanted us to just send them Bitcoin. I warned them ahead of time. Bitcoin is freedom money, though, not free money,
yes.
And it's protest money. I like considering it protest money. It's the best money we've ever fucking had. Okay, and as more people realize that, the price should fucking rise.
Yes, and
that is my thesis.
I think you're just being descriptive here. You're describing money and monies are comparable to each other. And when you compare the properties of Bitcoin to other monies, it is literally the best money we've ever had in terms of scarcity, portability, transferability, ability to custody, divisibility. It's the best money we've ever had.
Yeah, I think that's what people don't realize. Like, if you give me a better money, like, I would take the better money. I just don't think you're going to be able to get me a better money than Bitcoin.
Neither do I. Let's fucking go. We're vibing right now. We still got to get to the Twitter questions. We got 4.
We're going to stack.
We got 4 more topics. I'll stack right now. It is.
Next topic.
This game is, and got some. I got some pushback.
Oh, I love this. I love the pushback. Let's talk about the pushback.
Yeah, so Square today, Square Crypto had the tweet thread. I don't know who's the official owner of the entity, but they announced the Crypto Open Patent Alliance. So you can go to www.open-patent.org. And this is basically an alliance of people building products on top of Bitcoin in an open source nature that, the way I read it, is Square is creating this alliance where if you're a company building on top of Bitcoin or another cryptocurrency, you can join this alliance and provide your patent so that everybody can use it, and you're not going to use it maliciously to troll people. It's only going to be
like a patent union.
Yeah, it's just used to defensively. Like if somebody tries to troll you with a patent, like, hey, we already have it. Like, you go away or something like that.
It seemed positive to me. I mean, I wouldn't say like I was necessarily like bullish as fuck. Like it was a good sign, right? But so. Our good friend of the podcast and good friend of us, Steve Barber,
shout out Steve,
disagreed with you here.
He did. He had some good points. And Steve, and that's another caveat and nuance, hit your bingo boards, that should be mentioned with this, is
Rodolfo.
The mining industry, and specifically the mining industry focused on oil and gas. Oil and gas specifically has a lot of patent wars in its history. And Steve... so I'll just read his tweets. I won't speak for him. I'll read his tweets. He said to somebody, bitch tit cucumber at hodling cucumber said, no clue what this really means. Rabbit hole recap question mark. So here we are. And Steve responded to him. Too long don't read it. It does nothing to help small time innovators who create novel things and then get ripped off by better finance, fiat fueled copycats. The only innovators that would join this are those with deep pockets and network effects, giving them a moat. Totally misguided. I replied, I don't quite see it that way, Steve. How would one create a patent moat if the coalition is meant to make sure no one uses the patents unless it's defensively? It's a very key point in this coalition. And he had a string of 5 tweets. We'll link to it. I guess we'll link to it now. And basically the gist of which is he believes that a better solution would be to create a fund for innovators to fight back against patent trolls. And then our boy Vake, who we talked about earlier, he chimed in and said he disagrees that, and Steve's belief is that this coalition favors large companies with big pockets over small innovators. And Vake made a good point, which I think I agree with. May disagree with Steve on this point, but we'll see. He said large companies have better access to patent systems compared to small companies and much deeper pockets to litigate those patents. So patents are based upon this mistaken notion that ideas can be owned, and basically that, like, hey, this is actually providing cover for the smaller innovators via the bigger companies.
Yeah, I mean, so first of all, software patents. We've talked about them on the podcast before.
Yeah,
they fucking
suck. Like,
you can just do like,
and people outside the country don't respect them. So why do we fucking even have them? Like,
well, a lot of countries respect them, but in Asia they don't respect them. So you can for a software patent, you can just do like some cloud bubbles. You don't have to know code or anything. You just do some bubbles. You're like text message received, and then like the light blinks, and then you have the patent for that for 10 years or whatever.
Yeah, the famous one is the Apple slide to open.
Right. So there's a lot of problems with innovation essentially getting stifled because of patents. Free market competition just not existing because of patents. So that's where like a lot of this nuance lies. I know Steve specifically is talking more about hardware patents.
Yes, that's where
because that's his background, which I think are more legitimate. To be fair,
I agree. I agree. But I don't. I don't think that's Square's. I don't think that's Square's intention with this coalition. I think there's purely software based.
I mean, it seems. Disclosure: they're a fucking sponsor of the podcast. All you freaks know this. It seems like they're acting in good faith. You know, like, and I respect anyone who wants to argue the opposite. Argue the opposite. Hit us in the comments. Tell us, what's going on. I think software patents can go fuck themselves, and I think like they're acting in pretty good faith. And I'll tell you, and this is from someone who was a little bit bothered by their software patents. Like Square has some software patents about Bitcoin that are a little bit like, retailer accepts coin and gives you invoice. It's like a little bit questionable in terms of how of what those patents entail and how they can actually use them maliciously if they wanted to. So it's good to see that they're pledging to use them defensively, at least if just for their own patents.
Yes,
I'm glad to see that they're saying we're not going to use our patents offensively.
Yes, and that's the point I made to Steve. You have free will to join this coalition or not, and you can't force people to. So if you're a small,
but we want people to be critical. Me and Marty want you to be critical. Like that's what makes us different from others in this space. To be critical, fucking attack us, attack our sponsors, and keep us all honest.
Yeah, I agree. If we're ever being disingenuous, call us out. Or I guess that only you would know if you're being disingenuous. I don't know.
Alleged disingenuity?
Yes. There we go.
I don't know if that's a word. Disingenuity.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the last... we've got 3 more topics, 2 of which are software updates. The last is a YouTube video that you linked to. We'll get to it, but I don't know why you put that in there. If you're running Umbrel, which we've been talking...
I love the freaks.
We've been talking about their beautiful UI launch a node product. If you're running that, version 0.2.9 has been released. Opening the release notes opening. I don't kick myself in the dick here, and it doesn't seem like I'm going to. LND has been upgraded to the latest version. iOS users can now access their dashboard in any Tor browser without the cores issue. Hat tip to at Cbets and at Carlos Massa for debugging and testing the fix.
I didn't even know that there was a Tor browser in iOS, so I'm a little bit confused, but whatever.
I'm pretty sure if you set up a VPN, you have the option to run it. No, never mind. I'm wrong.
I don't know. The iOS users out there, first of all, you should switch to Graphene, and second of all, if you're using iOS, let us know how you use Tor browser with iOS, but supposedly this update fixed it. We do love Umbrel at the podcast, so of course we're going to include it. The other one is Rootfox Burrow v0.0.5 was released. This is the first real release as far as he's concerned. Interesting project. I like this guy, BJ Dweck. We've been talking. I think he's a good dude. He gave me his he has this really good intro pitch for Bitcoin, and he gave it to me privately. I fucking loved it. I want him to release it publicly. I think he's going to. So you freaks should pay attention to that. Give him a follow on Twitter. But this whole idea is, it's an image for your Raspberry cheap computer. We've talked about this with the nodes, with Umbrel and whatnot, where you can create a seed using your dice. So you're providing the randomness, but he does a really good job of visualizing it to actually properly show you that you're fucking doing it,
Yes.
It's like you roll a die, you put the number in. You don't really know, it's Cold Card does a pretty good job about it.
It's kind of like the bars.
Yeah, and it changes, and changes are happening. You see changes happening. The words are changing, but he does a really good graphical user interface of that happening, and it's all open source on a Raspberry. So check it out. I really like this project.
Yeah. So again, it's Rootfox Burrow. It's rootfox.io. Of course, we're going to link to the most recent version of the software. So if you freaks are running that, go check it out. It's version 0.0.5. And what's going on with Ledger? I mean, I love the Ledger Status guys.
Look, I love Ledger Status. He's my dude. He's awesome. I've been on the podcast. Like, you should go check out that episode. He's a trader. You know, he trades stonks. He trades shitcoins. He's all over the place. He did a 10-minute intro video on like what the fuck is going on with yield farming, and I honestly, part of the reason I did RHR is because I'm a Bitcoiner. I fucking love Bitcoin. I think everything trends to zero in terms of Bitcoin. But I pay attention to all the shit that goes on in the space because I think it's interesting. I find it interesting, and I think it provides learning experiences for us all. And I have noticed with this whole yield farming bullshit trend with DeFi and shit, that we are I'm out of place. I don't know what's going on really. Like I was very confused, and I wasn't doing justice, I think, to our listeners. We were talking about whether yams were legumes or vegetables, and I was wrong. Like, they were vegetables. They were not legumes. And so like I needed to explore it more, and he did a really good job of exploring it. And you can either watch that 10-minute video, which we are going to link, and I love this guy. Or like my TLDR is basically like these different projects, like these different decentralized exchanges, they're paying you to provide liquidity.
Yes.
That's where we're talking about where does the yield come from? The yield is coming from the project is paying you in tokens to basically lock up your liquidity into the quote unquote decentralized exchange. That's what's going on. There's a great 10-minute video that we're going to link because we love you freaks. I don't think you should watch it, but I also think that you should be provided it. You know, like I feel like we should give you the link, but it's probably noise. And if you have a lot of, if you don't have a lot of time is scarce. You should stack sats instead of watching it. But we are going to provide you the link.
I forgot to stack. No, but if anything, this video provides you with some ammo to better combat stupid arguments. Like how, yes, you may be providing liquidity to these decentralized exchanges,
quote unquote.
Good point. And they may be giving you tokens in exchange for that liquidity, but will those tokens retain value? And another thing, this is I was actually speaking to somebody who's a friend of mine who happens to be in the NBA, not going to name who, was asking me, like, should I get involved with this? I was like, dude, like...
Wait, you just nonchalantly dropped, you have a friend in the NBA?
Yeah.
How does he like Disney?
Didn't get onto that with him, but I will ask him about that next time.
We'll talk about it off air.
And he was like, dude, should I get into, like, all the, like, other stuff going on? I'm like, you don't have time. Like, just stack sats, buy Bitcoin. And it really... Like, those things just depend on greater fools. And one thing... After I had that conversation with him, I was thinking about it. I was like, all right, is this something like just devil's advocate, like something I should pay attention to, like seeing crazy returns and wifey or whatever the fuck we're calling it and stuff like that. And when you look... Yiffy, whatever it is. When you look at the liquidity, like, yes, on paper they may be rising exponentially in price, but like only like very few people out of the people in trying to trade those markets are going to be able to actually...
Yeah, but this is what people say about Bitcoin.
I would disagree, right?
No, this is literally what the no corners say about Bitcoin.
Is that...
I'm not saying that that's a proper defense of Yiffy, but I'm just saying that this is what they say about Bitcoin. This is what they've said about Bitcoin from the beginning.
Well, that's the difference. Well, that's the difference. Is you got the whole
volume,
you got the whole Morpheus Neo meme. Like Bitcoiners, I would argue, strongly believe this, or a lot of Bitcoiners strongly believe that they're not going to have to cash out into fiat, where I think a lot of the DeFi games, nobody really thinks they're going to be holding these tokens for decades.
I mean, like, it's all garbage. I'm not saying it's not garbage. It's weak FUD.
All right. So we got an explainer. I don't think it's weak FUD. Like, I don't think so.
Of course it's low liquidity. Like, it's obviously, like, when you start, it's going to be low liquidity.
All right. Should we get to the questions?
They're literally incentivizing liquidity. Look, it's a bullshit. It's what it is I think it's like cup games.
Exactly.
You know, like the Sopranos, like they're moving the cups at Atlantic City and they're going back and forth. And like, where's the ball going to land? They're going to take your money.
Yes.
And yeah. No, I do agree with you. I've heard that argument against Bitcoin so many times. I had to point it out.
Okay.
That's all.
All right. Well,
I'm not like trying to disarm your argument.
that was a shower thought. All right, we got it.
Marty's just showering in the middle of the podcast.
We got an hour and 10 minutes in. We thought the short was list. We thought the list was short. But God, by golly, if we did not get to some of these questions, we have. Let me check. 76 responses to that tweet. Holy shit.
Okay, let's go through them.
We're not going to get to all of them. Sorry, freaks. And actually, we've answered some of these questions already throughout the podcast, so you'd be happy to hear that, freaks.
Let's switch off. You ask a question, then you pick a question, then I pick a question.
Okay, I'm going to go first. Wow. This actually circles back. Shout out to @WhiteRabbitBTC. He had no idea we talked about this earlier, but he has an important question. He's pronouncing it like you would. Would you rather drink a bottle of Malort or butt chug a 6-pack of Ice House? Discuss. And so this goes back to the beginning of our discussion, where I asked you if you've ever had Malort. I think I would do a bottle of Malort. I'm not butt chugging anything. It just seems.
Yeah, smart. I mean, I'm not going to butt chug White Rabbit.
Yeah,
that's just not going to happen.
Yeah,
I haven't tried Malort yet. I think I could handle it. I guess
there actually is a bar in so Malort, for you freaks who are unaware, is a.
What is Ice House?
It's a beer. It's like a Milwaukee beer. So yes, both beverages are native to the Upper Midwest. Malort is Chicago. It's Chicago's. So if you go in Philly, they have the Philly special. You get a PBR and a whiskey shot for $5. In Chicago, their whiskey shot is Malort. It's a native. I don't know if it's a liqueur. I forget what it is, but it tastes like grapefruit and acid, and battery acid. But yes, I would do a bottle of Malort just because I'm acclimated to Malort. I went to college in Chicago and drank a lot of it in college. But yes, I will not be butt chugging anything, especially not Ice House.
Our boy, this is not the question I'm choosing, but our boy Away Slice gave us a question: full names and addresses. We are not giving them to you. You've been to both of our places, so you can go fuck yourself. He knows, he's one of the few that knows the answers to both of those. So if you're considering the $5 wrench, you hit him first, and you torture him for the information. Are you excited for NFL tonight?
No, I could not care less.
No, we got football tonight. Okay, so Andrew Stottle wanted our picks for tonight. You don't have a pick for tonight?
Is it Houston and
Kansas City?
I'm gonna pick the reigning champs. I bet they'll win.
Yeah, I mean Kansas City is -9. Yeah, I mean Kansas City's going to win this game. I think they win it by a lot. I think the NFL is going to do a full season, no cancellation. I'm not worried at all. I don't think the virus will stop them. They are fucking pure businessmen over there. At Flow Corner, how can we get better access to non-KYC BTC?
Go to Bitcoinqna.com. Or, excuse me, bitcoinqna.github.io/nokyc only. We already talked about it.
Or just nokyconly.com.
Yes.
Marty. He's got a nice little redirect. Also, kycnot.me.
All right. Well, you just asked 2 questions there, so I get to ask 2. And
Fine,
I'm going to pick,
I guess.
My first is going to be a tweet with 3 questions in it. Any updates on GAM is from our buddy Connor Brown at _Connor, CONNER Brown _. Any updates on GAM? Yeah, Great American Mining. We're chugging along. We're scaling up. We've got good things in the works right now. We've been doing weekly webinars. So if any of you freaks are in the oil and gas industry and want to learn more about what we're doing in the oil and gas fields, we're doing a weekly webinar every Thursday at 12 p.m. noon Eastern. It's really, I know a lot of you freaks want to hop in and figure out what we're doing again, but this is really focused towards oil and gas folks that want to learn about Bitcoin. It's an introductory presentation on Bitcoin and what we're doing. And yeah, the the talks are hot right now. There's a lot of talks going on. There's a lot of interest around this particular area, mining in North America, and yeah, we're building containers. I guess that's all I'll say. What is it like in NYC? Are places, especially Manhattan, as dead as media claims? So that's for you. This is still from Connor.
New York City is kicking it, okay? We are going to be all right over here. It's still a city. It is the best city in the country. If you're anti-city and pro-rural, fucking love you. I'm cool with that. I'm ready to move out as well. But that was going to happen pre-crisis regardless. If you're going to live in a city, though, New York City is the best city in the country. That has not changed. Nothing has fucking changed in that regard. We're seeing a lot of positive things in terms of outdoor dining and New Orleans style, open container rules. You can just like walk around with drinks, and that's fucking dope. We do have a lot of parks here. We do have a lot of water here. I do love water. And we have a huge fucking population. And like, yeah. The death of New York is overrated. Top call on that. And buy the fucking dip.
Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned this publicly on the podcast. I definitely did it in a back channel with you, but I reversed my bearish sentiment on New York City as soon as James Altucher released his article.
Right? If you're bearish on New York City, then you're agreeing with fucking Altucher. So just keep that in mind. If you're cool with that, by all means, be cool with that.
Last question from Connor. End of year price prediction. Putting us on the spot, Connor.
What are we at right now?
10.8 still, or 10.3, 10.316. Stone Cold Steve Austin would like this price.
Connor, for you, I'm gonna go with 16,476.
I'm gonna go like $12,400. A little bit below you. I think we grind up from here.
We'll see where we end up. That's a good one.
Yeah, we will.
Okay.
I get two in a row.
Okay, continue. That was a long question.
All right, it was 3 parts, but I get two in a row. From our boy Evan Kaludis, what non-Bitcoin podcast do you guys enjoy, if any? Very good question. Most recently, I've been listening to No Agenda and Mo Facts, both starring Adam Curry, the Podfather. No Agenda has been around for a while, and I really enjoy the conversations between Adam and John C. Dvorak, and then Adam Curry and Mo Facts, who was a No Agenda listener, have had an incredible podcast. It's only like 44 episodes in. It's really learned a lot, particularly around everything that's been going on this year socially in America. It's been my top two, and then I listen to Rogan every once in a while still.
So I listen to pretty much every good Bitcoin podcast, including our own.
Non-Bitcoin pods.
I know. 1 second, Marty. Okay, I'm answering the question.
No, you're not. Because you're just answering.
I am answering the question. I'm starting with context. Okay, I just want the freaks to know. I listen to like a psychopath. I listen to every episode that I'm in as well, every single episode, just to make sure, where I can improve or whatever. Like if I'm gonna expect you guys to listen to it, I'm gonna fucking listen to it. And then for non-Bitcoin podcasts, has just been completely decimated because I listened to all the Bitcoin podcasts. Like that's a lot of time. Recently, what I listened to is I listened to the Vergecast, which our boy Paul Miller was a part of until he left, and then created Cyberdeck Users Weekly, his separate podcast now, but that's like pretty much Bitcoin focused, so that doesn't count. But I do listen to the Vergecast still. That gives me like my tech nerd side, and then I listen to Joe, and I listened to pretty much all Joe's episodes. I'm like a little bit concerned that he moved over to Spotify.
I'm as well.
I don't think I don't think that was a good idea. I think he's gonna regret it, and I think we'll see where that goes. But I think like he's gonna end up with more censorship than he was at before. And then like on the lib side, I listen to Sam Harris and I listen to Bill Maher. And I like listening to the whole. Oh, and sometimes I listen to Chapo Trap House.
People love Chapo Trap House. I've never listened to it.
It's a good Antifa podcast.
Yeah.
Like if you want to like know like what they're thinking at any given point, like it's, but like that one is like I'm like kind of intermittent. I listen to like pretty much all of Harris's and Rogan's.
Yeah.
And they're both basically the same dude.
Yeah.
But just on opposite sides. Which I dig that.
No,
they're like they're pretty real.
Yeah, I'm pretty much no agenda, MoFat. Like this last 3 months, particularly, have been my go-tos, and they're no agenda.
I used to listen to No Agenda. I should probably start again.
They're yeah, then Rogan.
One
thing, considering like the what's the word I'm looking for? The atmosphere in this country, in the United States, particularly right now. A really good Rogan episode that I highly recommend everybody listen to is his most recent with Jocko Willock, and particularly the first hour where they talk about the lack of training that police officers have when you compare it to Marines. A Marine will train 18 months for a 6-month deployment, and a police officer gets 2 weeks of training for a 20-year career. It's
like 40-year deployment.
Yeah, it doesn't make
20 years seems like very optimistic for a police officer. They're way longer than that.
Yeah. Well, the point remains they get very little training for a very long.
It's even worse.
Yeah,
the point is even worse.
Yeah, that was illuminating and really like maybe.
I hate his new studio, Joe's new studio.
Yeah, it's very.
Am I being a hater? Like, am I being like the dude like made a bunch of money? Like, props to you, Joe.
No, like did you listen to his most? Speaking of merging of the podcast, I listened to him and Adam Curry did the first episode in that new studio. He wouldn't stop fucking interrupting him, especially when he'd like talk about like corruption of banking.
I'm gonna interrupt you. My issue is mostly. And like I'm really angry about like my favorite part of podcasts is that it's RSS. Like I think it's so cool that people can just like openly subscribe to Tales from the Crypt and we don't know who they are and they can just use any app. And like it's just a completely open platform. Like that's the coolest fucking thing ever.
I agree.
And it's super underrated. Like people do not realize how cool that is.
I agree. Like
they'll realize when it's too late. They'll realize like when we're all on Spotify and Netflix and Apple Podcasts, and you're like you pick which one you're on and shit.
Well, I don't know if I've spoken about this on air, but I've definitely spoken with you about it. But Spotify, they did like a user since we use Anchor, which Spotify now owns. They did some
disclosure.
They did some user research for podcasters, and I was included in it. And they were posturing like, what would it take for you to come like do Spotify only? And I looked at our stats. It was like 65% of our listeners use Android devices. Like, why would I ever cut off?
Well, Spotify's on Android.
No, they also have Spotify as a like Android specific apps. It's like 60.
Marty, the answer to them is simple. You just have to be like, my co-host Matt is just gonna fucking eviscerate me if I ever go exclusive.
Well, no, and give me some more credit here, okay?
I love you, Marty. I don't expect you to.
I would. Like I was like, this is bullshit. Like, why would I? Like, so you're depending on a platform to get you an audience.
I think we can get the majority of people to listen to Spotify. I don't like. That's what I'm saying. I don't think that's the issue. I think they'll move to Spotify if we. If we tell them we're moving to Spotify.
I don't think so.
It's cross-platform. You know, you can. I'm. What am I arguing for? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Fuck them, right? Like, I would never listen to my podcast through Spotify. Yeah, I've been taking issue. Like, I don't know what to do with the Joe Rogan thing. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what I'm gonna do.
I know. All right, let's get on to another question. Your turn for a question.
Next question. One could argue. This is from our boy Dergigi at Dergigi. DERGIGI. One could argue that the internet is fully captured by corporations and governments. What can we do so the same fate won't befall Bitcoin?
I'm literally looking at a response to that tweet right now. CEO from our boy Miles Suter Shout out Cash App. Disclaimer, sponsor the code. The pod. CEO of GitHub's response to the concern that central banks may pressure them to delist Bitcoin repository. No plausible scenario.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Yeah. Owned by Microsoft. So let's get back to
Who's that guy? Like, why are we taking that guy? Like, why are we writing articles about that guy saying it doesn't matter?
Let's get back to Gigi's question. What can we do? What can we do so the same fate won't befall Bitcoin?
We can try our best.
Take control of your keys. I mean, that's the simplest first step is learn how to take possession of your UTXOs. And they like, unless a corporation comes to your house and steals your private keys and your hardware wallets or whatever you use to store those private keys, like they can't co-opt it. Like again, this is like, I don't know. Going back to it's a peer-to-peer network. As long as there are people running full nodes that can propagate transactions, like how would, all right, then I'm going to pull you into the fire here. Like,
I'm pulled in. Let's go.
The one thing that like opened my eyes this week is we've all been about like dev funding from corporations, but is that a way to co-opt the repository?
Of course it is. That's why BitcoinDevList.com exists, so you can fund your devs individually if you'd like.
Yeah, so that's a way.
And I personally think that the use case of censorship-resistant crowdfunding is a major use case of Bitcoin that is underappreciated, and it is too difficult to do. Like, I appreciate BTC Pay Server and Tallycoin and Tippin.me that make it relatively easy to use. But I have some... It should be an exciting week for that. But we'll talk about that later. What are we going to do to stop the co-option of Bitcoin? It's going to be fucking difficult, people. It's not going to be easy. And I want you to be ready. This is why I talk about it all the fucking time. This is what KYC is. This is what this is how it happens. It happens slow and steady and grinding. They just grind it out of you. You know, and the bearish case is the internet, because honestly, ClearNet is like surveilled and fucking owned. It is just fucking not the vision of the internet that was supposed to be, in my opinion. In my humble opinion, is not what it's supposed to be. The vision of the internet, from what it was supposed to be at the base, is like kind of what Tor strives to be, like the Onion network. It's not quite there either, but like I tend to favor that more. 1 second, Marty. I think that the bull case though is PGP. Because no matter what happened, they couldn't stop the hardcores from encrypting their messages. PGP still exists. It's strong today. They couldn't stop us from encrypting our messages. And that's how it's going to be with Bitcoin. Like we need the hardcores. We need the people who are actually fighting the good fight.
I agree. But I will say, I'm going to read this post from Thomas Jefferson. All right. I do not know whether
Thomas Jefferson.
It is to yourself or Mr. Adams I am to give my thanks for the copy of the new Constitution. I beg leave through you to place them where due. It will be yet 3 weeks before I shall receive them from America. There are very good articles in it and very bad. I do not know which preponderate. What we have lately read is a history of Holland in the chapter on the stats holder. Very pressing. Would have sufficed to set me against the chief magistrate eligible for a long duration if I had ever been disbowed towards one, and what we have always read of the elections of Polish kings should have forever excluded the idea of one continuable for life. Wonderful is the effect of impudent and preserving lying. The British ministry have so long hired the gazetteers, to repeat the model into every form lies about our being an anarchy, that the world has at length believed them. The English nation has believed them. The ministers themselves have come to believe them. And what is more wonderful, we have believed them ourselves. Yet where does this anarchy exist? Where did it ever exist except in a single instance of Massachusetts? And can history produce an instance of rebellion so honorably conducted? I say nothing of its motives. They were founded in ignorance, not wickedness. God forbid we should ever be 20 years without such a rebellion. The people cannot be all and always well informed. The part which is wrong will be discontented in proportion to the importance of the facts they misconceive. If they remain quiet under such misconceptions, it is a lethargy, the forerunner of death to the public liberty. We have had 13 states independent, 11 years. There has been one rebellion. That comes to one rebellion in a century and a half for each state. What country before ever existed a century and a half without a rebellion? And what country can preserve its liberties if their rulers are not warned from time to time that their people preserve the spirit of resistance? Let them take arms. The remedy is to set them right as to facts, pardon and pacify them, what signify few lives lost in a century or two. The tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants. It is natural manure. Our convention has been too much impressed by the insurrection of Massachusetts, and the spur of the moment they are setting up a kite to keep the hen yard in order. I hope in God this article will be rectified before new constitution accepted. The most important sentence in that statement from Thomas Jefferson: the tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants. That is what we need to do. We need to reinforce our rights to liberty in the digital age. Bitcoin is the way we can do that. Luckily, Bitcoin provides a way that we can do that peacefully. I don't think we have to go out and kill tyrants, and I don't think many patriots have to die. I think we can do this. We need to fight vocally, use the communication technology that exists today to tell the World Economic Forum and the people that want to force these draconian laws on us that we are not going to put up with it. Long story short, we need less pussies in the world. We need people to step up for liberty in the digital age.
The TLDR. We needed that.
Yes, that is the TLDR.
Honestly, I zoned out. I zoned out for the Thomas Jefferson portion.
You know what?
But I appreciate, I agree that too many pussies.
All right, I've got my wife and son coming in. It's my son's bedtime.
We got to do a couple more questions. Tell them we got a couple more.
Okay.
questions.
Actually, they're coming in to turn down the heat because it is hot up here. I'm sweating.
What is too hot? Or they're helping you out, or they want the heat lower and you keep it hot.
Yeah, it's 83 up here right now. If you couldn't tell.
What the fuck? How is it 83 degrees these days?
I'm in my in-laws.
Okay. Ezekiel BTC.
Oh, whoa. I'm up. Mushrooms or LSD? Mushrooms by far. That's from our boy Brandon Quittem. Quittem on Twitter.
Yeah, mushrooms. I mean, but we're just telling the man what he wants to hear.
All right.
LSD, you never know what's going to happen. Mushrooms is natural.
Yes.
What is currently the best setup for multi-sig cold storage, which is ready for storing significant sums of Bitcoin? I'm not a coder, but comfortable with CLI. I heard you mention Spectre Desktop recently, but seems like it's a little too new right now for serious money, perhaps. That's from Ezekiel BTC. You are correct. I agree with you. Wait 3 months and then use Spectre.
3 months. December 10th, 2020.
That is pretty much where I stand right now. Favorite whiskey under $50, $100. Well, pick up Baby Bent in the picture.
I'm just giving kisses goodnight. Son, I love you. He had his. We already said it, but he had his first gnaw on a bone today. You can hear my wife. She said, "I love you." So we're a loving family.
Well, you can tell her it's good to see her. I'm not going to say her name on air.
Matt says, "Hey."
Hey, Matt. Miss you.
Did you hear her?
Yeah, I also miss her. It's likewise.
Yes. Under 50.
It's been a long 2020, man.
Under 50.
Under 50 whiskey. Go.
Bullet, easily. Bullet bourbon.
I really like Buffalo Trace.
I like Buffalo Trace too, but Bullet's my go-to.
I think that's under 50, right?
Yes, Bullet's my house bourbon.
This scotch I'm drinking right now, Arbor, I'm pretty sure is under 50. It's like Reddit's top scotch, bang for buck, or whatever.
MF Hoddle, this question's poorly worded. It should be under $50 and over $100.
Well, he's a liquor distributor, so he's just playing into his fucking pocket.
His brand, right?
Under 100 is Macallan. Everyone knows that.
Yes, or Lafrague.
Lafroig's good. I have it on my counter. I drink it.
All right.
I'm a Macallan man. Macallan 12. Let's go.
I polished off a bottle of Macallan 12 over the weekend. It was delicious.
That's my go-to.
All right. Let's each do one more question. Freaks, thank you for showing up. And there's so many to go through. I'm just going through them.
Shut up, man. I got a good one. Let's see if you pick it. If you pick it, I have to pick a different one.
I'm going through. Are you thinking about hodls? I'll let you answer that one.
Should I go?
Yeah.
Okay, so from American Hodl, he goes, "Why is Matt Odell still mad that you called him a cuck that one time? Question mark. LOL. Do you think he will ever forgive you for the slight?
I hope you.
If you call me a cuck, I will never forgive you. Like I will just always be here to remind you of that one time that you called me it.
Well, luckily I didn't call you a cuck. I said you.
Well, you said my mentality was cuckish.
Yes, that's
which
not
is
calling
the
you a
same
cuck.
Fucking thing.
Everybody can have a cuck mentality from time to time.
American Hodl agrees with me. American Hodl agrees with me. He called me a cuck, right? and I'm never gonna forget that. I will always remember that, and I will always bring it up.
Hey, don't get so sensitive. Just trying to iron sharpens
No
iron.
one's triggered. No one's sensitive, but we will never forget.
Ooh. This is a good question. This is from @BlockTalk. How can the freaks in the community make Uncle Matt and Marty even more bullish? Is it possible?
No.
What if you had a perfect scenario in which you had on-chain privacy, but you're also able to audit the supply at the same time?
Yeah, build me like a dope ass fucking privacy application for Bitcoin, and then I'll be more bullish.
Well, make me more bullish, honestly. And I don't even know if it can make me more bullish because I already have this thought. Like, I think people severely discount I think nation states and governments, people are losing so much confidence in them globally. Like, people worry about KYC and modern day 6102. What would make me more bullish is if more people adopt my mindset and realize that these institutions don't have as much. I mean, they have a lot of power, but you can also take that power away. I think people are going to lose, and that power is dominated by confidence in the system overall. And I think people are losing a lot of confidence in these systems very quickly. And I think people very much estimate the I think people are very bullish on the state clamping down when they're not as bullish on people losing confidence in the state. So if I see more people adopting this viewpoint, that would make me more bullish. It's hey, the state has a lot of power now, but they're misallocating funds and being so egregious with their overstepping of civil liberties that people are just going to revolt. I think people severely discount the revolt.
Vague asked us what 17 plus 34 is. It's 51.
I just saw you typing. You used the calculator.
No. I was typing something else.
I'm sure.
Also, I agree with you what you said earlier. Let's empower individuals and stop being fucking cucks. Let's fucking go.
Yes.
Be the change you want to see in the world. Smiles.
All right, we each get one more.
We get one more.
This one's gonna piss you.
He can't help himself. There's so many good questions.
This one's gonna piss you off, Marty. Can you expand on stop watching porn freaks? Do you not like the industry?
This doesn't piss me off. I'm not like a porn defender. You're just super anti-porn. It's weird.
I think people try to manipulate people with sex and porn. I don't know. It's a sick. I mean, I was
Why are you being so paternalistic about it, though?
Because I realized,
you don't have to protect people. People can figure it out themselves.
I know, but speaking from...
Who are you? Who are you to tell people what kind of videos they can watch?
I'm nobody. But speaking from experience, I will speak to my own experience. I was a habitual porn watcher and jerker off or two. I was a coomer for quite some time, and honestly, it wasn't until the lead up my wife was pregnant with my son, I was like, yeah, I can't be watching porn anymore. And it is mentally much better, clearer mind. And then once you get into the whole porn industry, the underground of it, and how the women specifically are exploited, it's just it should make.
Not all women in porn are exploited.
A lot are. Have you
listened? Have you listened to the Peter McCormick episodes?
I have not.
He's had 2 or 3 episodes with very successful porn stars who have not been exploited. They're the top of their game. They're the killers. They're the pomps. They're the pomps of porn.
What was that? shot across the palms of porn. Well, how come they're not the Martys of porn?
I don't know.
I'm fucking,
Because they're not the Martys of porn, you know.
fucking
They're the
with
Palms
you.
of porn.
Um,
Yeah, you're right. I should have double hit you. They're the Martys of porn.
I'm
They're
kidding.
super successful. They're killing it.
So
They have
it's a personal
they have
question,
fan
and this
bases.
comes from at few understand without an A and an E. This so at few UNDRSTND this Truman.Hodl. Do you not like the industry as a whole, or how it affects the lives of young men and
Wait,
women
we have
watching
another
it?
porn question?
No, it's the same question. It's just the second part of the question. Yeah.
I
As
love
you're
this.
alluding to right there, Matt, like if women and men went to engage in porn as a career and do that and are proud of themselves, more than welcome to do that. I don't like the way it affects young men and women watching it and how it
Yeah, but who are you to fucking decide?
nobody, I'm just saying. This is my personal preference, having been a habitual coomer for a while and
So
been
I have
on the
a
other
question for you,
side.
Marty. Marty, when Bitcoin is the predominant way for people to pay their virtual reality sex worker to perform sexual acts for them, are you gonna be upset with Bitcoin about it, or are you gonna be cool?
No, God no. I'd be happy that they're not using Spank Chain and they're actually able to preserve their value. Again, I've got libertarian tendencies, to each their own, as long as you're not harming others. I just don't think it's a productive use of time. And
Oh no, I mean I don't disagree there.
Yeah.
It's obvious. There's no one. The only people who have productive use of time with porn is the producers of porn.
yes,
I mean, it's their business.
and it got weird towards the
If
end.
you're
of
an
my
actress,
towards the weird
if
of
you're
my
an actress, a producer, you're making money. It's your business. It's cool.
towards the
I'm
end of
cool
my
with it.
porn watching career, it's just like, oh, like, hey, you're fucking your stepsister, your stepmom, and it's just like,
Well, I mean, that's just your kink. That's
No, it wasn't-
You
I mean-
can't just throw that on other people.
no, it wasn't I wasn't into that kink. I was just observing that kink existed.
I mean, the only
It seems-
porn I used to watch, when I used to watch porn, it was always like, woman discovers cure for world hunger. And then like, it was a sexual act. Like, I only watch like the super positive. porn.
Okay, yeah, hey. It's like
I get the last question.
trying to fight back against degeneracy. That's it.
No, I don't disagree with you. I just try and keep you honest. Pirate Beach Bum asked a question. I just love him. I don't really love his question. So just follow at Pirate Beach Bum on Twitter.
And you're just
Oxtail asked a question. Discuss chairs and the lengths plebs must go to lower their time preference to stack sats.
you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
I mean, I think chairs, like, Pierre's been a little bit against chairs too much. Like, chairs are good. I'm cool with chairs. They will trend to zero in Bitcoin terms, so, like, make sure you don't put too much money into chairs. But they're good to have. I like sitting in them. The length plebs must go to lower their time preference and stack sats. I think you just have to realize, like, saving money is more exciting than consuming your money. Like, it is a game changer of a thought process to think about in your head. I love consuming my money as well, consuming my wealth, but I want to save it because I want to be able to basically defer my consumption. But I'm gonna consume regardless. Like, I'm not pretending to be a puritanical Bitcoiner that's never gonna fucking consume. Like, I'm gonna consume so fucking hard in 15 years. I'm just gonna consume harder in 15 years than I'm consuming now. That is my plan. That is how I'm proceeding here.
If you're sitting in a chair, just make sure you have good posture. This is one thing.
We're both sitting in chairs right now.
Oh yes, yeah. No, I'm not.
I'm watching Marty sit in this fucking
Believe
chair.
me, I'm not gonna play into that whole. I hate chairs. I love chairs. I sit in chairs. Oh, I do have a standing desk down here.
I also have a standing
I
desk.
do stand for most of
But
the day
the
while
chair is
working.
nice. The chair
Is nice, but I will give a piece of advice. Make sure you're working on your posture. Especially if you're sitting in a chair working at a laptop, make sure you have one of those stands for the laptop where it's like eye level. So like posture is important. You learn this like a cotillion. I lived in Charleston for a few years, and I got forced into manor school, also known as cotillion, and they like beat posture into you at a young age, and it actually works out in the long run. You do want good posture. You don't be like lurching over your computer like I'm lurching over the mic right now. And in terms of lowering your time preference, how far you should go, as far as your future self would be happy that you went. I think that's a good thing. And I think you just always, like, I have a conversation between present Marty and future Marty in my mind at all times. Like, what would future Marty think of this? And drunk Marty is the biggest enemy to future Marty. And so when it comes to saving, and I completely co-sign what Matt said. Like, it just feels good. It feels better. It feels like you have more power and agency over your future when you know that you have X amount of dollars or sats behind you. If you ever got in a pickle and needed to do something, you could do it. Like, that peace of mind is pretty powerful.
Yeah, those oranges you don't buy today could be Lambos in the future.
Not even that, but it's just like, again, people who call Bitcoin
It's
fuck you
ancient.
money. Like, it's good to have that fuck you mentality. Like,
If you don't have the fuck you money, it's not fuck you money. That's the key.
yeah, but fuck you money is different for different people. Fuck you money could be 50 grand, it could be 500 grand, it could be 5 million.
Well, I would argue fuck you money has to do with the properties of the money as well.
Yes, that is true.
I do want to hit Pirate Beach Bum's question because now I feel bad that I disregarded it.
Yes.
How do you think the upcoming election will affect taxes on Bitcoin for those who choose to trade or sell?
I think the situation for those people is already pretty bad. I don't think it will. I think it'll be neutral to negative. I know Biden's got like a,
He's not going to win though.
but he's got, well, who knows? It's yet to be determined, and he wants to do unrealized capital gains tax, correct?
Oh no, that's California.
Oh, is it? Okay.
No. Biden hasn't gone as far as unrealized capital gains. He's just going to increase the tax rate of capital gains tax.
Well, so yeah, so neutral to negative.
But realized.
Okay, but that's still worse off. It's still negative.
Yeah. He's still going after the cap gains people.
It's neutral
I
negative.
mean, it doesn't matter. Trump's going to win it.
Yeah, but I don't think Trump's going to make it any better. So in that case, it would be neutral.
I think Trump is bullish for Bitcoin because it just distracts everybody.
Yes, but I don't think he's going to make tax beneficial
I think
policy.
8 years, I think in hindsight, in 20 years from now, 40 years from now, when we look back, 8 years of Trump distracting everybody was going to be like the best stimulus package that Bitcoin ever got, ever. Like, it was the best thing. It was the best thing ever. Because, like, think about it. Like, he came in, when did he come in? Next year is going to be 2021. He came in like 2016, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we were 7 years into the Bitcoin experiment. And he gave us 8 years of fucking free pass.
15 years into the experiment. Bam.
That's fantastic. Like, that's exactly what we want. I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
I'm happy. I'm happy in that one.
So fellow pleb Pirate Beach Bum, neutral to negative in my mind.
In my mind, we don't. I mean, me and Marty, we're not trying to sell in Trump's presence.
No. Well, that's like,
Unless he like goes dictator, then maybe like we'll sell year 25 or something.
why would you even sell? Why wouldn't you just send it to somebody?
I don't. That's what I mean. It's the same thing.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I don't plan on selling.
If you
That's
send
actually what-
someone Bitcoin, you're selling your Bitcoin.
I think
it's the same thing.
There's an argument to be made that got scared into hodling because I don't want to deal with the tax implications because the IRS is just like opaque and scary. It's like,
Wait, if you think the tax obligations for Bitcoin are difficult, what do you think all these people yield farming are doing? with?
Right?
Like, they're fucking.
Good luck, fuckers. Have fun.
Fucking insane.
Have fun with that. This has been fun. Should we do one more?
Yeah, give us another question, Marty. I'm enjoying this. I like the questions. We should do the questions more often.
Well, they've eaten up like quite a bit of time.
I mean, we didn't really have time to spare to begin with. We started at an hour 10.
All right, I like this one. This is a wholesome question from our boy Royal McFlugel. He's got the Slappy and Royal podcast. What's your best strategy for gifting Bitcoin to a child who is not your child? Open dime, by far.
Always open dime.
Yes.
Open dime is the best gift
Yes.
method. I love it for weddings specifically, and it's really easy to convince a no corner that Bitcoin is cool if you hand them an open dime because it's just a cool piece of hardware.
Yeah, I've done it 1 or 2 times, and I've had my son was actually gifted an open dime, and it was like awesome. Thank you.
Well, what's really cool is I have a YouTube video on TFTC Guide series that is just if you received an open dime. And that was because I gifted it to like 12 people, and they were all like, Matt, how do I receive it? And I was like, Marty, I'm just going to put this up on TFTC Guide series. So it's like, congratulations, you just received some Bitcoin through an open dime. And it just like it brings them right through the process if they receive the Bitcoin. So if you do give an open dime, consider using my YouTube video as their way of claiming it. Rob Hamilton, Rob1Ham, asked, is Matt getting rid of his Oculus now that it requires Facebook login? If you own an Oculus, you get to wait 2 years before you have to use a Facebook login.
I think you have to make a disclaimer for what's going on this weekend.
Well, I'm going to use my 2 years. I own an Oculus Quest, which is a Facebook product, and I am going to go on to Udi Wertheimer. I think I pronounced his name right, but it's honestly not my fault that it's a complicated last name. VR talk show with Peter McCormick on Saturday at noon New York time about his X-Pub bullshit, whatever that drama was. He knew what X-Pubs were, let's be honest. So I'm going to go on that with my Oculus Quest. The Oculus Quest is nice because it was standalone, but it is owned by Facebook. We knew this was going to happen. I don't have a Facebook account, so it's just not going to happen. Like when they require a Facebook account, it just won't happen. I'm not going to continue down that path, but it sucks to see. But it's one of those things that you just expected it, and we were heading into a lockdown, and I'm going to pay $400 for a fucking virtual reality fucking headset. It's whatever.
And
if you don't have $400 to spend on some bullshit, then you should reallocate your life. Like, you should figure out what the fuck's going on, guys.
Harsh.
That's the New Yorker, not the Bitcoiner speaking here.
Harsh but true. All right, I'll end it on this one. A playful one from at Bitcoin Bibby. I think I got the answer to his question. For him, favorite early 2000s baller. I'm assuming yours is Mike Bibby, considering your name is at Bitcoin Bibby and the tagline is a young Mike Bibby. Allen Iverson. I mean, easy for me. I grew up in Philadelphia. AI was the creme de la creme. Just the true personification of grit, drive, and pure talent that I hope my son can replicate on the lacrosse field in a few years.
You're an AI guy?
Yeah, I was an AI guy. Well, how could I not be?
I was John Starks. I'm going to go with John Starks. You remember that motherfucker?
You mean John Stockton?
No, John Starks. He was our boy.
Is that what you're just looking up? Who is he?
I was just making sure I was correct. Yeah.
Who do you play for? The Knicks?
Knicks. The fucking Knicks, motherfucker. Who the fuck do you think I am? I'm born and raised New York. I'm a New Yorker, motherfucker.
John.
That's why you all come at us. You all come at fuck you all. Okay, New York. We have the strongest Bitcoin community in the fucking world.
I won't knock
okay?
that.
You want to come at us?
I won't knock that.
You want to come at us? Where did Marty get discovered? Marty didn't get discovered wherever the fuck he was from. He got discovered in New York. Okay?
I will say that I don't think I would be here today without the connections I made in New York City.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
This podcast would not exist without Barstool Sports, without Lewis Roberts.
Where's Barstool based out of?
Right now, I mean, originally Boston, but now New York City.
Originally, yeah, New York City, okay?
Yes.
Boston is, I don't know, all the Europeans that are listening, Boston is like anti-New York in America for sports. And the Boston sports franchise came to New York because they knew we were the best fucking city in the fucking country. And they had to come down here. And they had no choice. They had to come down here. And that's what fucking happened. So keep that fucking in mind.
And that was
Dave Portnoy.
Dave, if you're listening, We are not the heads of crypto. We focus on Bitcoin.
Wait, how good was that? Wait, can we talk about that? That was great. That was fucking fantastic. How
Right.
good was I love Dave. I love you.
Real recognize real.
I think it's
real
great.
recognize real, and that was real recognizing real. That video.
I loved how he was just like, I want to be a part of it, but I just need some more time. You have to give me time. Just give me time.
Yes, give me time. I need to learn. I do not think that's what I worry about. Like, imagine Dave trying to get into yield farming.
No, he's gonna be a shitcoiner, but he's fair about it. You know, I'm cool with it.
He's up front with it. He's
He's not your mama's shitcoiner.
No, and that's the thing.
That's
I hope you freaks who are Barstool fans been paying attention for a while realize that's Dave's specialty. That's why Dave is who Dave is. He knows when to lean in to certain subjects and content when the timing's right. And I think this morning's video setting up a reemergence into the quote-unquote crypto sphere is a perfect example of that. This dude knows when to push certain points of content. It's why he is a $100 millionaire now.
Not a billionaire though.
Not yet. Wouldn't be surprised if he gets there one day. And hey, maybe a persona non grata at Barstool, but I would not be here without Dave Portnoy. He built that company and that building. He rented out that building, particularly where this podcast started. And
yeah, but Marty's a piece of shit. But like, I shouldn't be a persona non grata. Like, just bring me on.
oh yeah, hey, yo, is this been your plan all along? 200,
Yo, Marty,
200 episodes in.
Bus. Ever since you got excited about Bitcoin again, I've just been throwing you under the bus. That is my plan.
Hey.
Yes, I'm coming in. Let's go, Dave.
I just
this.
hope when you get in there, you just don't totally trash me. All right, I expect a little trashing.
Of course not, Marty. You're my brother. I'm not gonna do that.
I know.
To
I'm
you.
fucking with you.
Don't be ridiculous.
Have we been rambling too much?
I'm the Trojan horse.
How many freaks are still listening at this point? If you are still listening,
Freaks, we love you.
let us know. Peace and love.
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin.